Okay, everybody. Welcome to the 14th episode of season 2 of the Shadow Collective podcast. We're here again on a Saturday night. Have a good time. How's everybody doing?
Doing
Pretty
good,
good.
doing good.
Of course, as always,
We
got my
are
good
we are
friends
the
Andy.
Shadow Collective.
Got my good friends Andy Beads and Swampgrass here, and
Yo, yo.
we've got a lot of good news for tonight. A lot of stuff going on in the world of Star Wars, and it's nice to know considering we have there's not a lot going on TV wise, movie wise. There's a little bit going on to keep us going. So um I want to get right I think we should get right into it. Um have some fun and have a couple good chats here about Star Wars. What do you guys think?
Sounds good, buddy.
All right.
Let's do it.
So let's start with our first story. Um it's coming out of screenrant.com, and it came up and it was saying they dropped one major season Mandalorian season 2 plot in the new Mandalorian Grogu movie. And unfortunately, it's that we found out that Tamora Morrison, who plays Boba Fett, is not going to be in this movie. So no Boba Fett. Um, Kind of a little surprised by that myself. I figured if anybody would have a place in a Mandalorian movie, it would be Boba Fett. Um, it says here during Fan Expo in Chicago, one Star Wars star confirmed that they will not be appearing in the Mandalorian Grogu, suggesting that a major plot from the Mandalorian season 2 may truly be over. Mandalorian Grogu is next to be released on Star Wars upcoming movies. At present, little is known about the movie, other than it will follow Mandalorian season 3 in the timeline, feature the titular characters. Nevertheless, it's sure to be a thrilling addition to Star Wars movie shows. Um, However, evidently, not all characters who are important in The Mandalorian will appear in the movie. Specifically, Boba Fett actor Tamara Morrison confirmed to us during Screen Rant's own panel at Fan Expo Chicago that he will not be returning in Mandalorian Grogu. It says here, I understand they're going to do Mando with Grogu movie next, and things have changed too. There was going to be a Mando 4. I was going to turn up in that, but as of now, I'm still waiting for a phone call, to be quite honest. I think we're just put on the shelf for a little bit. Maybe we come off the shelf later. So what do you guys think about this news at this point?
I'm not too surprised just because of the, lack of popularity of the Book of Boba Fett show and stuff. But I mean, Boba Fett is iconic. I would have loved to have more Boba Fett, of course. But yeah, unfortunately, the execution of that show was not really up to snuff for most people, and including myself. There was definitely left much to be desired, and that kind of tainted the spirit of the character, I think. So it's kind of unfortunate.
Um, it's kind of not a surprise to me. Just based off of what's been going on with some specific shows lately, cancellations here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Disney's losing money, yada yada, right? So I think they're kind of like, well, let's not bring, let's not put this in there for now. Let's see, let's maybe they're trying to put it on the shelf so people might, want them to come up later. And you know I mean, just I don't know, the way that Boba Fett was done in that show was just, you know he even says it himself. He wasn't a big fan of the direction of the character. And I don't know if that's one of our things as well in one of our news clips, but he wasn't really a fan of the of the of the direction of the character, the way they were going with it. He was trying to, give lines to Fennec's, like Fennec. Can't remember her name.
Fennec Shand.
But well, Fennec Shand, but the actress.
Oh,
that
the
played-
actress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me not when you mean.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, I'm not surprised, and I think this is more of a. I mean, obviously, we would all love to see Boba Fett, some more Boba Fett. I want to see more old school Boba Fett. The way that he was kind of going was kind of taming the character down. But I think they're kind of on this thing now where they're tired of losing money. So they're kind of like, I feel like they're kind of axing all the things now that just didn't hit
Yeah,
based
it's an
off of the last
expensive.
series that happened, right? So
Yeah, I
um,
imagine his like when he does do these shows, he probably gets paid pretty well as well. Like he's probably one of the higher paid stars. So to justify that, you gotta
I would
bring
say
the
so. I
magic.
mean, it wasn't $180 million show like the other
Yeah,
one we know of, but
yeah, yeah.
but I think they're just uh maybe potential, like maybe he was supposed to be. I know he's saying that he was supposed to be a part of season 4. Maybe in the early draft of this movie too, he probably was a part of it, and maybe they just decided, maybe we're just not going to go in that direction after this movie anymore. You know what I mean? So, uh, who knows? There could, hopefully it's not completely on the shelf, but I think the way that his character was going, it was kind of kicking dirt in the face of the old Boba Fett. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I understand. Ian, you want to do me a favor? I know we're on, but yeah, they're saying you do sound a little bit low there.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Are you guys
Testing,
interested?
testing.
Are you guys interested in the figure of what the what's it called? The budget for Book of Boba Fett was in comparison?
Sure.
105 million.
105.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised it was that high, but I mean,
Yeah, I was
what they
just
put
curious.
into, considering what they put in some of the other episodes, the other shows, I'm not overly surprised. But at the same time, I mean,
Yeah, at least they had like the CG Luke and stuff that was probably fairly
Yeah,
expensive.
I feel there was more CG in the Boba Fett stuff though, you know?
But there was not the power of many.
$100
It's
million dollar
expensive
film right
stuff.
there.
Expensive stuff.
Oh, jeez.
let's see here. Like I said, we do have a couple of stories this week that it's it's weird because like we're kind of getting like either they're conflicting stories or they're continuations of stories. And right after this story had come out, we got another story, and I'm gonna grab this one today. There was another story that came out on Comic Book News saying that not only was he pretty much not scheduled to come back in obviously in Mandalorian Grogu, but they're pretty much saying that we're not getting a Boba. I think it was kind of known already, but it's almost like they're trying to like put the official stamp on it at this point. Given this is still a little bit of rumor, but um, at this point, I think we're at the point where I think we kind of know either we're not going to see it or it's 5 years down the line when they finally decide, yeah, maybe it's time to bring him back after we haven't had anything else to do for a little while. So that's kind of news. I mean, this is fairly short. And it just mentions how Tyrone Morrison appeared at Fan Expo, confirmed he's not in Mandalorian Grogu. Basically, again, his quote where he's saying he's waiting for the phone call, but yeah, regarding why Boba Fett could be axed, since it wasn't well received by both fans and critics. The Rotten Tomatoes score was 66% from the critics, only 49% from the fans. Only Boba Fett and the Acolyte have Rotten audience scores, and the Acolyte was just canceled. So at this point, they were showing. Actually, it's kind of weird because they actually show like viewership though, and it shows a growing viewership surprisingly for the Boba Fett, whereas Acolyte it was steadily going down. So it kind of almost gives you this wonder if it will come back at some point, but I don't see it happening anytime soon, personally.
But you gotta think though the viewership when it started to go up again, like that's when they started to bring in like the Mandalorian and Luke, and you know what I mean. Like in the beginning, it was I think it was saying like 400 million and 300 million, and then when they started bringing in Mandalorian and Luke and all that stuff, shot up to like 7 million. Finale was a hit. I think it was a great end. I mean, other than the ending a little bit, but little buddy at the end there. Hey, croissant and pass me a fruit. Like, didn't you guys body wrestle? Like, anyways,
naked wrestle.
you guys naked wrestled. Like, anyways, but the point is, like, I felt like they had to use already established. Boba Fett's established, but like an already established character from another TV show to come in and kind of bring those viewerships up, right? If it wasn't for Mandalorian, Luke, I think it would have been kind of down there in the trenches with the Acolyte. To be fair, I think.
Yeah, if it was just pure Tatooine, all that, like that would have been, yeah, I think that would have definitely been less good for sure.
Like honestly, my favorite part of the Boba Fett stuff was the flashback stuff. Like I didn't care for how he was present time. I liked the backstory that they put in there. That was my favorite.
I don't know.
Like a bantha.
I don't know. For me, it was like the backstory stuff was good to a point, but then there were the points where like he's sitting there, and like you said with the bantha, like sitting there, and he's like sitting at a fire, like petting a bantha. It's like, do I need to see this? This is stuff that I really need in my life.
It wasn't perfect, but I mean, I would prefer to see that than Boba Fett without a helmet on, like, you know what I mean, or he's just talking like a normal dude. Hey, I'm Boba Fett. Yada yada yada. I'm the king of this place. Yada yada yada. Like, I agree with Tuomo. Like, he should have stayed mysterious. You know what I mean? Like,
it's funny that you bring the way you said that. Chicken. Whenever they did the Boba Fett scenes, and he would come in, that'd be the kind of way he was, like overly. Hey, look at me! I'm Boba Fett. I'm here. Hey, watch me shoot this thing.
maybe they took the ideas from that.
I don't know. Maybe they did. If you ever get a chance, watch it. If you haven't seen it, it's utterly hilarious.
Somebody must have been a huge Robot Chicken fan when they were writing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, I understand people. Again, gotta remember, I'm not the biggest Boba Fett fan. Just personal preference. Obviously, I have other characters I like more, but this one doesn't hurt me so much as it does, I'm sure, other people.
But I mean, a lot of us agree that he should have stayed the way he, like, mysterious, right?
Oh, absolutely.
As soon as we started to see how vulnerable he is and all this stuff, you're like, this is not Boba Fett. This is just like,
Yeah, I mean, the Book of Boba Fett should have been tales of him hunting down Jedi and being the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. Not, or at least if we were gonna get to this point of him, this should have been like chapter, like book 18 or something. I mean,
I wanted the Godfather. That's what I wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was expecting like because we seen him in the Mandalorian season 2 going in there, he's like crushing skulls through the helmet.
was
He's like
awesome.
just ruthless,
Yeah.
right? So I'm
Yeah.
picturing like, okay, Boba Fett, he takes Jabba's throne. He's gonna rule with an iron fist. He's gonna come in there. He's gonna get revenge on anybody who was associated with Jabba and all this kind of stuff. Is what I was picturing. Like you said, Godfather, maybe like montage showing him taking out all these people, right? These key gang members and stuff. No, instead it's like, oh, I want to lead through respect, and he's going around smiling and naked wrestling with Wookiees, and like what the,
uh,
and
it's
then
like I said,
recruiting the mods, everybody's favorite, the mods.
The
That
mod,
was
he was
that
making
was a
friends with
nice
the
Uh-oh.
touch.
mods.
the Vespas.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, when I was thinking Book of Boba Fett, I was thinking like, back to Empire Strikes Back when Vader walks up to him and he's like trying to set his bounties and he points directly at Boba Fett and says, "No disintegrations." I want to know that Boba Fett.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to know
There's
why
definitely
he.
a story there.
Yeah, I want to know why he told him no disintegrations.
Yeah, that would be an interesting story. Call it No Disintegrations and then just have like the stories of young Boba disintegrating everybody.
That if that was a flashback when he was in that Bacta tank, I would have been all in.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah, that'd be cool.
I'd have been like, keep him in the Bacta tank. I want to see all these stories, but we didn't get that. So, all right.
Yeah.
Was
I would
anything
love
else?
to see them bridge more of the gap though from like because we've seen a lot of young Boba in Clone Wars and like it'd be kind of cool to see, you know, how he became one of the most feared bounty hunters from that point on, you know?
Yeah, and I agree with
Be
that.
neat. Yeah.
All right. So, anything else you guys want to add in before we move on, or?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Rip
So,
Boba Fett.
all right. So, I would ask who wants to take on the next one, but keep in mind for this one, I'm gonna have you cover the next two because another one. These are kind of like conflicting, and I kind of want to. I think we kind of need to keep them together again.
All right.
Or actually,
Uh,
no, not this next one, but like the next two after that. My mistake. So, take the next.
What? So the acolyte, one.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's the one I'm taking. The acolyte. All right. Hold on here. I want to make sure that everybody hears me. Can everybody hear me?
I would say you can still stand it up a little bit more, but I can hear you.
I mean, I know you could probably hear me.
Yeah.
He says he can hear you.
And in the chat, they say they can hear you. So
I can hear you. Okay, good. Oh, and now the chat froze. All right, so okay, so this next one is out of deadline.com. The Acolyte canceled. No season 2 for Disney's Star Wars series. The story of the Acolyte will not continue, with Lucasfilm opting not to proceed with a second season of Star Wars offshoot starring Amandla Stenberg, sources tell Deadline. Word of the decision comes more than a month after the 8-episode first season of the series from creator, director, executive producer, and showrunner LH. I'm not saying her name. Wrapped its run on Disney. The news is not entirely surprising. No, really? The Acolyte did okay with critics, with 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, but divided Star Wars fans, which was reflected in its overall viewership, driven by interest into the venerable. Did I say that right?
Mhm.
Venerable.
Venerable. What is it?
Venerable. All right.
Yeah.
Venerable space franchise. The Acolyte got off to a strong start when it launched June 4th, with 2 episodes generating 4.8 million views in its first day on the streamer, to rank as the biggest series premiere on Disney Plus this year. Tally rose to 11.1 million views globally after 5 days of streaming. Corroborating Disney's data, the series made its debut on Nielsen's top 10 originals chart in its premiere week at number 7. 488 million minutes viewed, climbing to number 6 the following week. But the Acolyte could not sustain the momentum, dropping out of the top 10 in week 3 before returning to number 10 after the release of the finale. Just barely making it into the top 10. And I think this is like a first for a Star Wars finale, pretty sure. I mean, I could be wrong with Boba Fett. I'm not sure. That could be different with Book of Boba.
No, they said Boba Fett was like
Global
800 million.
800 million minutes.
Yeah.
The finale of Book of Boba Fett was very hyped. Everybody wanted to see it for.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I'm looking here. It's 885 million minutes. Yeah.
Ever. Like fellow global streamers, Netflix and Prime Video, Disney Plus has a high viewership threshold for renewing high-end, big-budget series that cost well over $100 million per season to make. In interviews, Hedlund has revealed that she had pitched her idea for a second season, sharing her hopes for a renewal. Lucasfilm's first and most successful to date Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian, is carrying on, crossing over to the features with the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu. Ahsoka, the company's series that preceded The Acolyte, has been renewed for a second season. And then, yeah, it just tells us about The Acolyte, yada yada, all that stuff. So, what is this? This is August 19th. We're a little behind. This cancellation of a lot of people are like, oh, don't use the word canceled. They're not renewing the series, I guess.
Oh yeah,
so, this has been floating around for a while, and it's really sparked up a lot of conversation on the internet, including there's a huge petition going around trying to get the show back and all this stuff. Guys, it's not gonna work. Bob Iger is not gonna go, oh, that petition. We did lose $180 million first season, but hey, let's do another one because you guys have a petition. Not gonna happen.
I think people know things. If you have a petition that's on change.org, give up. Don't sign it. Nothing from that website has ever gotten anywhere. I've never seen a single petition get looked at, considered, approved.
It's just funny because it's just 50 million. It's not 50 million. It's 50,000. 50,000 people have signed the petition. 60,000 people have signed the petition. That's 60,000. That's not a lot. You know what I mean?
It's I'm pretty sure if I made a petition to keep it off the air, we could pretty much double that in about half the time.
Pretty sure you'd be good.
Yeah, 60 million.
Add an extra 0, yeah.
I
Or
mean,
2, yeah, sorry.
I mean, this is not news, really. It's nothing new. It's nothing we should be surprised by. This actually, yeah, I know it's a little behind as far as news is concerned, but this actually was announced the day after our last episode that we had. So,
Right.
obviously we're getting to this as fast as we can. But for the amount of money that was wasted on this series, I mean, there was $180 million of winning this season. I don't see it.
Yeah, well, that's one thing about this is like I talked about this in one of our previous episodes that they give these numbers that don't actually really give us anything, and this is kind of an example of the same thing. They're just talking about the like the popularity of people watching it and stuff from season 3 onward. But if you like, they're not really giving like the full numbers of what it made, but it definitely made them a lot of money, definitely more than 180 million. So that is like it's kind of tainted when they give these kind of stats because like it is still they say viewership was low, but they're comparing it to the most popular show ever on Disney Plus, including all the Marvel, all the Disney, all the everything, right? So
Yeah, but I think you
like
got to also keep in mind that when it comes to that, I mean, even like when it comes to movies and they talk about what goes into making a movie, it's $250 million, 300 million, whatever it is. People don't ever. People are like, well, it made 350 million. You put 300 million in, you made 350 million. Oh well, it made money. It didn't make money. At the end of the day, you still got to remember there was other things that had to go into this. I mean, that was just the making of the movie, paying the people salaries. You got to remember there's post production, there's advertising, there's everything else that goes into this. So they may say 180 million went into this season. They probably spent more like 250 million once they were done with all the advertising, promotion, whatever else they had to go into to get this thing running. So at that point, it's there's more money involved in this. I mean, it's because everybody says, "Oh, it was 180 million." They didn't make their money.
they did for sure. They remember we had the article that said this is the first year Disney Plus turned a profit, and that's a big part of it.
Well,
Like
they meant
like I said, it was the biggest premiere of any show on Disney Plus ever, and like Ahsoka and Acolyte combined to make up like a very large percentage of what Disney Plus made in that year.
yeah, but I mean, we're talking about everything. We're not just talking about the show itself. And yeah, it may have gotten off to a great start. By the end, I mean, they weren't making money at the end of the season, that's for sure.
No.
They're making less money. Less money. They're still making lots of money. Don't worry.
Oh, and it's Disney. They're gonna obviously, but
Yeah.
but I can't see this being all on the acolyte. That's for sure.
No, I'm just saying people want to say be very like doom and gloom about this and say that they were lost money or they're whatever. It's just not the case.
Well,
They definitely made money.
I think the doom and gloom was actually
think it's
watching the episodes.
Yeah, no, the watching experience was definitely less enjoyable than them raking in the money.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that kills me, like I said, I mean, you drop. Not that I want to keep harping on this $180, but I mean, you drop that money. I'm sorry, episodes 3 and 7 were the same episode. It didn't. I mean, you didn't even try to really make them different. I mean, like I said, you could have taken 10 minutes out of episode 7, added to episode 3, and you could have scrapped the rest of episode 7 and just went on with the series. I would have been I would have been happier with the series had you done that. I think watching that 7th episode was the 7th episode. Because I remember it was 8 total episodes.
I remember the numbers.
There's 8 total episodes for the season. So yeah, it had to be episode 7. I mean, I was more angry at the end of episode 7 than anything. It's like, why did I watch episode 3 again?
Yeah. Well, especially for me, because if you guys recall, I went back to rewatch episode 3 just because there was certain things I was trying to like pick out in the background. So now I've essentially watched the same thing 3 times, and I'm like, oh my god, what is going on here?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's so. I mean, I feel bad for the actors and actresses. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they did the best they could with what they had, but
Yep.
there just wasn't a lot there.
No, and like if you think, I mean, everybody, people were either excited or curious about the show itself when it first was announced and when it first, aired its 2 premiere episodes. And, usually when a show is new and just starting off, your view's definitely gonna be up there. And that's kind of why there was so much viewership in the first couple episodes, because it started off strong, but after everybody saw where it was kind of heading, it started to like dip down. And I mean, every show has that. Every one of these shows had probably a stellar viewership rating in the beginning, and some stayed strong, some tinker off.
Yeah, I would say something that lent to the sort of hype of the beginning too is they were marketing it as sort of an introduction to a new era that we don't know a lot about, right? So everybody was kind of excited for that.
Yeah. Excited to see something outside of the Skywalker thing, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. You guys want to put on this or?
We have that other article that's like same but different. Do we want to go into that?
Actually,
Or
that's the thing. The next 2 articles are kind of like same but different, but conflicting at the same time. So.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I could jump into these. I'll take care. The first one comes out of Forbes.com, and basically the title is, "With the Acolyte canceled, almost every Disney Plus Star Wars series is ending." The article after that comes out of the Bespin Bulletin, which came out a day later, saying that Lucasfilm reportedly has multiple unannounced Star Wars TV series in development. So
it's kind of contradicting each other.
So that's kind of why I put them. That's kind of why I put them both together, because it's like Forbes is talking, there's nothing left, and Bespin Bulletin saying, "Oh, we're loaded. We've got a lot coming." So it's like. Yeah. It's like, which one of you is right?
It sounds very political. Left wing, right wing.
Yeah. Well, like they say unofficial, it's probably like, full on speculation potentially. But
yeah, I'll start with with the story from Forbes, which says, right now everybody's processing or celebrating Disney canceling The Acolyte, the ambitious but expensive and barely watched series that created a culture war firestorm not seen since The Last Jedi. A fair statement.
Yeah, it's pretty true.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, there's now a story that stretches beyond that. One that feels that Disney is almost pulling out of live action, high budget Star Wars shows on Disney Plus altogether. I don't know who this guy Daniel Richtman is. says he put this together, and he's right. We're now at a point where, yes, future Star Wars movies are finally being developed again, but the shows, they feel like they're skidding to a stop with only one confirmed series moving forward now out of more than a half a dozen we've seen. And it gets into the details of it. The Acolyte, obviously, as we know, has been canceled. Skeleton Crew is meant to be a limited series. They have not mentioned that this is going to go anywhere past one season that we're getting. But who knows? Maybe we could see a season 2 somewhere. But we have to get to season 1. Andor was always meant to be a 2-season show and will end after the upcoming season. Obi-Wan Kenobi may have Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen itching to make it more than a limited series, as they've said. Right now, there's been no movement. Let's see. As of now, Book of Boba Fett was received terribly and will not get a season 2. They might come in the future, but as of right now, see it. The planned Donald Glover Lando series is now a movie, and there is a rumor floating about that this movie has been shelved.
Yeah.
The planned Mandalorian spin-off Rangers of the New Republic was canceled, likely in part because of the debacle. And then there's The Mandalorian, where it's unclear if season 4 will actually come into existence after The Mandalorian Grogu released. Just don't have enough details to know whether that could end the finale for the story, or if season 4 is for sure going to happen. So that only leaves us with Ahsoka. It's the only show we know is getting a second season, and no other live-action Star Wars shows have been announced. This is opposed to the number of films in the works from the return of Daisy Ridley's Rey to James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie. And this just goes into how it's similar to going on with Marvel, but it also says Star Wars, it's a little more bleak. Outside of The Mandalorian, it seems that Disney has likely not seen the return on investment they wanted on almost all of those series. They've clearly lost their way if they're spending $180 million on a brand new era, brand new characters series like Acolyte, when that had a 0% chance of ever being that much. I don't know if I agree with that. It could have been worth something. It was just very poorly executed. I doubt Andor earned back what it costs in value. They're saying that reportedly cost $250 million. I don't know if they mean for the season or this one. But it was always meant to be a 2-season project, and it was so good it helped salvage some of Disney's Star Wars era. As Disney seems lost in the woods with Star Wars, maybe they realize it's time for a break. Yes, it would mean good if they could expand beyond the Skywalker era days. With the Acolyte dead, that seems unlikely unless Mangold's film is a massive hit. Or they straight up start adapting Knights of the Old Republic. But for now, it's about to be a wasteland unless new things are announced soon. Maybe that's for the... Now, keep in mind... excuse me. Keep in mind, we have Star Wars Celebration coming. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They may announce 10 new shows at Celebration. Obviously, it's not going to be 10.
They might announce 10 and one's only going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I expect them to announce something.
But yeah.
So
But yeah, I looked it up. That 250 million figure is just for season 1 of Andor.
Just season 1.
wow, I'm surprised.
Crazy.
I'm actually surprised it costs that much.
Says that an eye-watering 250 mil, making it the most expensive first season of Star Wars Disney Plus seasons.
Yep.
But oh, that one paid off. It was
I thought so too.
But all that being said, that we just went through the Forbes article, I do want to cut over to this Bespin Bulletin really quick and just go over that. Because, like I said, this came out practically, I want to say it came out a day late. That came out 3 days later.
24th.
Yeah. And since here last month, Acolyte wrapped amid a divisive response from fans was promptly canceled earlier this week due to poor viewership. As Star Wars fans and Lucasfilm dust themselves off in the future, Skeleton Crew waits on the horizon with its December release. The series co-created by John Watts and Christopher Ford, set during the same time period as The Mandalorian, follows a group of children that get lost in a galaxy far, far away and seek to find their way back. It's one of 3 shows left to release that Lucasfilm has announced. It will be followed by a second final season, critically acclaimed Andor next year, second season of Ahsoka, likely to arrive in 2020. Star Wars fans have a lot to look forward to with these 3 series, and a plethora of announced movies with the first Mandalorian and Grogu due to arrive in theaters on May 22nd, 2020. However, some fans have been wondering about the future of live-action Star Wars. Let's see. Whether we'll see a slowdown due to Disney Plus's cutbacks amid a handful of movies slated to release in the coming years. In his newsletter, let's see, Insider.com. I don't know who this guy is. Has revealed that Lucasfilm at this time have several new shows that simply haven't been announced in development. Schneider provided no insight as to what these series are, but hearing Lucasfilm are hard at work on the side of things likely delight fans amid Disney focusing their efforts on theatrical releases, switching their focus from Disney Plus, which was the company's priority for a handful. So, like I said, we went from 3 days before hearing probably nothing left and we're not going to see anything for quite a while to suddenly there's a lot on the table and there's definitely more coming. I don't know which do you guys really think that we're kind of backing off or going all in, maybe somewhere in the middle?
I mean, I would say it's more in the middle, to be honest, because I mean, I feel like they're kind of trying to please the fans, just to say that there's stuff coming. There's stuff coming. Don't worry, there's TV series coming. We're not done with TV series yet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind them kind of slowing it down a little bit. Like they're just trying to push stuff out. I feel, and that's kind of what I feel what happened with the Acolyte and all this stuff. They're just throwing, and I mean, it feels like it takes forever to make these shows, but I mean, they've got a bunch of stuff. They had a bunch of stuff come out. Like we had a couple animation things this year. We had a TV show this year. We're having another TV show at the end of the year. We're having another TV show next year. Which is fine for a Star Wars fan, but it starts to become like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's seeming like Marvel. Like Marvel was putting out so many TV series, like TV series after TV series after TV series, TV series of like just characters and stuff and stories you didn't really care about. And I feel like it's possible that Star Wars fans could be like, okay, let's pull back on the TV series for now. Let's get these movies out, which I'm sure everybody's excited about going back to the theater for Star Wars, right? So
Definitely.
But I don't know. I think it's probably more in between, and not to say like these two stories are like, oh, like they're together on the whole thing. They're like, oh, let's put out this one and let's put out this one just to kind of like confuse the fans. I think
Yeah.
it's just a matter of somebody's inside contacts with certain people. And I mean, I don't Forbes, what was the other one? Forbes.com. Was that?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily go to Forbes.com to look for my news. So, I don't know. I think it was more of a it almost felt like a clickbait. Like, oh, there's no more Star Wars. It seems like Star Wars shows are ending.
The end.
I don't think so. Like,
Oh,
No.
they're not
No.
going to let that happen.
well,
Yeah.
as I read through it, I mean, it did come off sounding a little bit more like an opinion piece rather than.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
I mean, that
Yeah,
being
because
said,
it said a few times. Oh, go ahead.
no, go
Well,
ahead.
I mean, I was just gonna say I've heard this Jeff Snyder guy before. Like I've heard of his name. He seems, he's been around. I think so.
Yeah, I was just gonna say throughout that Forbes article, a couple times it said "I feel like," and I'm like, I usually dip out at that point. If it's supposed to be news.
Yeah,
I don't care
I
where you
feel like,
feel
yeah,
like.
no.
That's not the. That's not what we're looking for here. Yeah.
I mean,
But no,
go
I
ahead.
feel like they probably. Oh, now I said it. They probably do have a lot of unannounced stuff. I think that's probably true. They probably have all kinds of plans and ideas and stuff, but we also know that they announced cutbacks, like major cutbacks financially from all of Disney, not just Star Wars, all over Disney. So I feel like regardless of their plans, there's probably only a certain percentage that is going to be announced or whatever, and maybe some of it's real, maybe some of it's gonna get shelved, like we were talking about. But yeah, I would say like Andy, somewhere in between. Somewhere in between.
I think I agree with the somewhere in between. I don't. I don't see. I can't see them saying no. We're never going to make shows.
Yeah.
You come this far. How are you going to stop? I mean, especially when you've had some misses, definitely misses. But again, Andor was a massive hit. The first couple seasons of The Mandalorian, massive hit. I think what it's going to come down to is maybe instead of quantity, it's time to start looking more into quality. So maybe instead of dropping 4 or 5 episode shows a year, maybe now with movies coming out, it's time to find that balance. Maybe okay, this year we're dropping a single movie. All right, we'll throw in 2 TV series, and maybe a Tales of the Jedi because we managed to be able to use those one. Or next year we've got 2 movies coming out. Well, there's 2 movies coming out. Let's just drop one TV series with that. It should be more than enough for the year. Keep people happy because there's Star Wars, but yet we're not overwhelming people. And instead of sitting there and just throwing out anything, let's make sure it's good. Let's make sure something that somebody might want to actually go back and watch again, rather than it's over and I don't care if I see it again because it's not that good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember we had a story a while back where they were saying that they were increasing the budget of Skeleton Crew and pushing it back like last year sometime. And yeah, so that like kind of goes along that lines, like they're trying to hopefully bolster the quality of the show instead of just putting out, as much as they can, as fast as they can kind of thing.
Hmm.
I'm looking at it just to see what they're anticipating for a budget of that film or that series, and it looks like they're um, sort of what's the word? Looking around like 136 million. So yeah, not too crazy, not too low. So it's good.
But I can understand that because I mean, again, going back to Bob Iger, he was talking about cutting back and not dropping as much. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
But I mean, with that being said, too, like I don't see like a Star Wars TV show series dropping below 100 million
Right.
No.
for a season, right? So
No,
I
obviously
think
not.
I think that's a good that's a good range for a series like for a season. 130, 140, 150. I mean, you could have your 250s, but everything else better line up for 250.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can have your 180s, but if other things aren't lining up, then yeah, it really looks really bad.
Mhm.
That, you know, you're willing to trust throwing 180 million for a show that's not going to work. Like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
going to lose money.
Yeah, a good example of that is The Ring of Power, which the second season came out recently. I haven't watched it, not Star Wars news, but that show, but like from the get-go before they even launched, was given a $2 billion budget for 4 seasons. So just right off the bat, here's 250 million per season, make it work. So I'm glad they did that. Like that's kind of a good way to do it because now that first season, some people considered it a bomb because viewership wasn't as high as they hoped and stuff like that. So, maybe that show would have got canceled and that's what they wanted to avoid happening, I suppose. Like live out the full story and see if it can actually have success with 4 seasons instead of just one, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
It's one way to do it.
the one thing I will say about that, not that I want to get into,
Right.
I think they're having the same issue. Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's almost a situation where I guess we can kind of relate to what's going on over there. We're seeing it
Yeah.
on this side as well. Personally, I actually like the show. Good.
I enjoy it.
Oh,
But-
I love it.
But I'm also not I'm not a person that's read Tolkien.
Oh, okay.
So I'm looking at it from a completely different viewpoint than say somebody who's been a hardcore reader wants everything to be like right on point, and I wouldn't know where to go. So
Yeah, myself, like I'm not a like per se hardcore on it, but I've read Lord of the Rings twice, Hobbit twice. Like I've read a bunch of stuff and loved Tolkien, loved it growing up and stuff, but like I kind of gave up on wanting to see it properly done right as soon as the first Lord of the
That's
Rings
not good,
movie
yeah.
came out. It was
Yeah.
out the window. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. So they took the book, cut it into like 1/8, and then made it a film. So
Right.
yeah. So
Well, man,
expectations went down.
I tried to read it in order, and I think it was what's the first one? Silmarillion? I can't remember.
Yeah, Similarian.
And I think I got about 10 pages into that, and I was like, "This is too hard to read for me."
It's just
Yeah.
That's it.
it's the lingo, it's the names, it's
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Oh, yeah, it was-
Yeah.
crazy.
It was out there.
I would
and it was
say
like-
that one's better to be read last because it reads more like an appendix, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like maybe that's it. Maybe I need to grab Lord of the Rings and just pick that one up first.
Hobbit.
But
Hobbit is a really great place to start because it's a shorter read too.
The best thing
That's
to
fair.
do, audiobook.
Hey.
True. True.
I'll add that to my list of Star Wars books I need to start picking up. Hey, I saw.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of stories out there that I still don't.
Mhm.
Definitely, we've been talking about doing it. So definitely want to work on it. So, that being without getting too far here.
Yeah, let's get back.
Yeah,
Let's
I
reel
guess
it
we
back.
should go back to a galaxy far, far away type of place.
Let's get out of Middle Earth.
Yeah. Who wants to take on the next?
Are we? Yeah, I'll do it. I haven't done one yet, so. All right, so Star Wars Theory. This is from Screen Rant. Star Wars Theory reveals Jude Law's mystery Jedi is a classic Legends villain who completes Thrawn's canon story. So, a new Star Wars Theory suggests that Jude Law's upcoming Jedi character may be key to setting up the canonical Thrawn trilogy. a mysterious Force user with an unknown past. Skeleton Crew's Jude Law is likely much more than he seems. To that end, his upcoming role in the upcoming Star Wars series may be connected to Grand Admiral Thrawn himself. Having returned to the known galaxy after his years in exile, Lars Mikkelsen's Thrawn is ready to become heir to the Empire. During the New Republic era, much like his original debut in Timothy Zahn's non-canon Thrawn trilogy of novels, now known as Star Wars Legends, having been brought back into the established canon via the animated series Star Wars Rebels, and more recently in live action with 2023's Ahsoka, several elements have fallen into place for a canonical adaptation of the Thrawn trilogy, and a new theory suggests Jude Law's Jedi may be one of the final pieces. Goes on to say Jude Law's Jedi is clearly going by an alias, clouded by and emerging from the shadows after using the Force to acquire a key at the end of Skeleton Crew's first trailer. Jude Law's new Star Wars character is quickly identified by the show's primary cast of kids as a Jedi. Likewise, promotional materials and merchandise have identified Law's character as being named Jod Nawud. That could be totally wrong pronunciation, but we'll go with that for now.
Until we hear
However,
otherwise.
this is
John
Yeah.
Nana would.
It could be totally different. It could be Jode Naywood for all I know. But anyways,
Yeah.
we'll find out. However, this is more than likely an alias of sorts. After all, a Force user like Jod was more than likely on the run and in hiding from the Empire for many years, especially if Skeleton Crew reveals that he was indeed a member of the prequel trilogy's Jedi Order. Jod being an alias has also been hinted at by Jude Law himself in a recent interview with Rotten Tomatoes TV. Law claims that Jod Nawud is just one of his character's names, hinting that there will be questions about how trustworthy he is, and even while helping the show's kids find their way back into their home planet or back to their home planet. As such, this does imply that the show will at some point reveal who Jod truly is in the Star Wars galaxy and what his real motivations actually are. All right.
Okay.
Hold on. Wow, there's a lot in this article.
There's a lot. There's a lot to this theory.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, keep in mind it's just a theory, but I like to play this spectrum.
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
It can be fun.
Yeah, especially when you got like all these sort of nuggets of things leading you in a certain direction, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of neat.
Well, it would kind of fall into place having this series kind of in that era where Thrawn is, whatever it is. I mean, they could have made this series anywheres in the timeline, right? So just to kind of like put it there, and again, it's theory. I mean, it could be totally off, and they could just, what we want. This would be cool. This would be neat because this trilogy here, this book trilogy, like that's the first trilogy that I ever read, and
yeah.
It's kind of like it'd be kind of a full circle to see that come to kind of fruition, right? That'd be pretty neat. So, but Star Wars likes to throw bones too, so you never know.
I mean, you, this is the first book I read after Star Wars at a time when I didn't think we would ever get many Star Wars, and
Right.
definitely paved the way for us getting more movies, Disney sale, TV shows, more movies. If it wasn't for the the Thrawn series, who knows where we are right now? But there may not even be any. Star Wars may still be over with Return of the Jedi at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty neat idea. Pretty neat theory, to be honest.
All right, so I read on while we were talking here, and there's another part of this that I do want to read though, because it sounds really interesting. Could Jude Law actually be Joris Kabawa?
I know.
Bawath?
Seabath?
Shabath?
Sabath?
Yeah, I think that's kind
Shabbat?
of how I would have pronounced
Joris Sabath?
it. Sabath.
Sabath. All right. One intriguing possibility is that Jude Law may be secretly playing Jorah Sabath, primary antagonist in the Legends Thrawn trilogy, a clone of the Republic Ezra Jedi Master. That was a
Republic
weird
era.
wording. Oh, Republic era. Oh, it doesn't say Ezra. Gotcha. Republic era.
Ezra on the
I was like,
brain,
why?
dude.
I was like, why is it? Yeah. Anyways, Republic era Jedi Master Joris Sabath. Joris was creation of Palpatine during his attempts to create Force sensitive clones, a concept which has made its way into canon with elements including Mount Tantus on the planet Wayland, Project Necromancer, and Palpatine's eventual resurrection in the sequel trilogy. However, this insane Dark Jedi clone who ended up allying with Thrawn and providing access to Palpatine's secret cloning facilities on Tantus has yet to be re-canonized. In the Thrawn trilogy, Joris and Thrawn joined forces after the Grand Admiral Thrawn promises Sabath Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, and Leia's unborn twins for him to train as his dark apprentices. Though in canon, it would just be Ben Solo. To that end, perhaps Jude Law could be Joris, who makes his debut in Skeleton Crew under the alias of Jod. Initially presenting himself as a genuine hero, and the show would eventually reveal his true nature as a canonical version of Sabath. Potentially.
I mean,
It's already been. Sorry.
oh, go ahead.
I'll give you a chance to say something there.
Oh,
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna read the last part as well because it kind of leads into it. But it's already been confirmed that Dave Filoni will be directing his own Star Wars movie that is expected to culminate all the New Republic era narratives Lucasfilm has been telling since the Mandalorian. To that end, the return of Thrawn to the known Star Wars galaxy has generated expectations that this movie might just be a canonical adaptation of Zahn's heir to the Empire, perhaps even being the first of the entire trilogy brought to life on the big screen. To that end, bringing Joris Sabath back to the canon would certainly be quite significant. Serving as recent additions in the Star Wars canon, Palpatine's various cloning experiments have well and truly been established. This includes where the bulk of them took place within Mount Tantus, same as in Legends. Also, Thrawn has made his return to the Star Wars galaxy in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi to presumably unite the fractured empire, while in Legends he was simply in the unknown regions. The new canon had Thrawn exiled in another galaxy altogether, as seen in Ahsoka. Specific events leading up to this potential Heir of the Empire event have of course been different in the new canon compared to the Legends. This includes the particular heroes who will likely have prominent roles in Filoni's movie over the original trilogy characters like Luke, Han, Leia. Most like Din Djarin, Ahsoka Tano, Ezra Bridger, etc. However, some of the biggest core pieces need to set up a canonical Thrawn trilogy are already in place, and Jude Law as a secret Joris Sabath in Skeleton Crew does feel like it would be one of the last ahead of Filoni's upcoming Star Wars movie. Streaming December 3rd on Disney. All right.
Free promotions. Like Disney needs it from us.
Yeah.
I mean,
So yeah,
ideally,
interesting.
ideally, this is. I mean, we've had this idea now for a while. Filoni's. I've been excited. Sure. And obviously, there's definite details that would have added in. I always wondered how they would handle the idea of Jerusalem, or if they would even include him at all, because you don't necessarily have to include him, but I mean there has to be something with Necromancer, just because it wouldn't feel right if it didn't, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But adding the Night Sisters is a kind of extra added twist to that. I'm very curious as to where that'll go. But yeah, I mean they've made it very clear that this is probably going to be Rebels side of the story instead of Skywalker side. Though, I mean, you have set it up where we could see a Luke Skywalker somewhere if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
I still feel like we will.
I think you almost have to. Yeah, obviously, Han and Leia, that'd be much more difficult. But I wouldn't completely rule it out. Yeah. Am I completely down with this idea that Jude Law is the answer? No. I mean, but it's an interesting idea to go with.
Yeah, because there's so much mystery around him, right? Could be.
I mean, there's nothing but mystery around this show in general. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we
Yeah.
still don't know enough of anything. It was a nice trailer, but we didn't learn much. But it might have me looking at the show a little differently, considering this theory. Considering, maybe it might have me thinking anytime Jude Law does something that's a little odd, even if it's not something, I'm gonna be looking. Is that something?
Is that Sabath?
Yeah. So, I don't know. It'll definitely make watching Skeleton Crew a little more interesting. But do I 100% believe it at this point? No.
Fair.
I mean, I was already on board with Skeleton Crew. I mean, the trailer looked.
Don't die on us. We
You
need you, Andy.
Water. Oh my gosh! Can I drink my tears? Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah. So I was already on board with Skeleton Crew. It was, that trailer was great, nostalgic, reminded me of a lot of stuff. So I was already there. I mean, throw this in with it. I think it potentially could be, a really great experience for myself. Anyways, I mean, it's like I said, it kind of has it's the characters or this trilogy is kind of close to my beginnings of Star Wars stuff, right? So, so it'd be nice to see it come to life. So who knows? Like, yeah, but I mean, it's a nice theory. But I mean, it may not happen either. It could be just like, something else. I mean, he has said that he is hinting that, he's got many names, right? So I mean, this could still be not even, but I mean, if
Yeah,
I don't know, I don't know.
yeah. As I was reading that, I couldn't help but thinking how they could like bridge that together, and then like Snoke is a future version of the Sabath character as well. You know what I mean? Because it is like a dark side clone, something training Skywalker person. You know?
I still feel like they're gonna try to. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see some Snoke eventually at some point. The bridge of Snoke between whatever's coming up and this, or whatever's coming up and the prequels, I guess.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but certain
I don't
things
know
like
yet. I
just
don't.
keep kind of making me think, oh, does that have something to do with Snoke? Because again, another character with so much mystery around them.
Yeah, yeah, and he was taken away from us.
Too short. His life was
Too
too
short.
short. Uh,
Yeah, but I mean, like we said, I mean, it's it's, it's nice to have an avenue to start speculating. This because hey, they say it's all gonna come together. I mean,
yeah.
and considering I'm still trying to figure out how four little kids trying to find their way home from the galaxy fits into the overall fight. It don't make much sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, this could be a fun little tidbit that's at it. We could be way off with it too.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I mean, if we're looking at a potential Stro Sabath, still in my mind thinking, are we on our talent card, or are we potentially see Mara Jade? there's a
Yeah.
lot of places we could go when we
Mara
start
Jade would
making,
be huge.
yeah, but there's a lot of places we can go when we start making these kinds of
Yeah.
speculations. So
Mhm.
I don't know where we're going yet. I'm excited. I'm excited for the ride. Like I said, I'm not 100% there
I'm
yet.
always excited for the ride.
Yeah, to me, it kind of doesn't make sense that this Jude Law character could potentially be a clone just because of timing. Like, it seems like they kind of just started that cloning project, and Jude Law's character presents as like a full adult man, right?
Yeah, but you gotta
So
keep
I
in
feel
mind.
like,
No,
You gotta keep in mind. I mean, when they
no,
were
go
yeah,
doing
but
cloning with,
this started back in Bad Batch, the clone
yeah,
stuff.
you gotta
yeah,
keep in
so that's
mind.
way before the Empire and stuff. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Or at the beginning, sorry.
And not to
Yeah.
mention, I mean, with the clone army, I mean, they were able to rapidly accelerate ages at a point. So if they were able to add that to what we have here, sky's the limit
Yeah.
as far as what we do.
Yeah, that's true. I was more thinking of like where we've seen the experiments with Grogu and potentially some degree of success with that, because we see like a lab where they're like, they abandoned it presumably because they got what they wanted and stuff like that. So I felt like watching that made me think, oh, maybe they produced, well, again, I was thinking Snoke at the time because a lot of the other test tube thingies looked like Snoke to some degree. Yeah. Yeah, so I was more thinking along the lines of that, but no, you're right. It started quite a bit before that. So yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting. But also, didn't we see Mount Tantus get like blown up in Bad Batch?
I don't know. Was it really blown up? I mean, we definitely had. I mean, obviously damaged,
Oh
but I
yeah,
mean,
for the Zillo Beast, that was what happened, right? Yeah, yeah.
but we never necessarily saw it gone.
Oh, okay.
I think. I mean, all of the lab tests and stuff were destroyed.
Oh yeah, because she had the grenade,
From
Nalase.
Nalase. So she destroyed all that stuff. But I mean, that wasn't technically Project. Like, I mean, that was a little bit of it, but Project Necromancer was like down somewhere else. Like, I'm pretty sure there was like other parts of that facility that, you know, had the Project Necromancer stuff going too, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think the entire mountain wasn't destroyed. Like
Right,
the
yeah.
facilities were still there. It's just I think that section where that port was and where the Zilla Beast came out and all that stuff, like that was
That
all
part got
destroyed.
messed up. Yeah.
At the same time,
That
you
makes
don't know.
sense.
You also
Yeah,
don't
And then
know
there's
what
like
Palpatine
massive
had.
structure.
behind, wasn't there? Was there like other mountains that had stuff in it as well?
Oh,
Like,
really? I didn't notice that.
I'd have
Yeah.
to
I'm sure there was
back,
another one behind it or next to it.
but even then, on top of that, you don't know what Palpatine had hidden at other locations.
Yeah, that too,
Sure.
right?
I mean, if
He
you
was very
remember,
secretive.
yeah, if you remember, and after Battlefront 2, if you there was that scene where you were one of the Inferno Squad guys, and you ended up meeting up with Skywalker going into one of Palpatine's old. You don't know what he had sitting in there.
Right.
And he might have had just as much information there. Oh, well, it's all gone from Mount Tantus. Yeah, here's everything they had up to yesterday, and bring it back and set it all up again.
Yeah.
For all we know,
That makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, we don't know where. We just. Yeah, I would expect Palpatine to have contingencies on.
Right.
Yeah, he had plans for everything. It seemed
Yeah.
so. With that being said, anything else we want to say about Jerus or
Jerusaboth.
Jerus. Cybath. Cybath.
All right, let's go in. Let's go into the.
Let's just keep repeating his name for the rest of the show. I think this is the way.
Sabaoth.
Andy, I'm gonna let you take the next story because I know you're gonna be the happiest one to get to throw it out there.
It's your favorite.
Exclusive. Takai Waititi, Star Wars, not happening. No kidding. Booted from Thor. So that must be another. He must be done with Thor too.
Yeah, that Love and Thunder was a major bomb.
Oh,
so.
it was garbage.
Yeah.
It was awful. Conversations I have had with insiders. So this is not me. This is from the cosmicbook.news. No, cosmicbook.news. Okay, that's confusing. All right, conversations I have had with insiders at the recent Comic Con have informed me that Taika Waititi is definitely not doing his Star Wars movie at Lucasfilm. I previously tweeted about it and mentioned in with the rumor that Marvel may have removed Captain America Brave New World director Julius Ona from the movie. I was also actually told by this insider that LH is done at Lucasfilm. Boys, see you later.
TW and LH.
T-dubs. So I have dubbed these two Dumb and Dumber. So Dumb and Dumber is gone. See you later. Bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Recently saw the news that Acolyte had been canceled and won't be getting a second season. Insiders filled me in that the reason Taika Waititi is no longer doing a Star Wars movie at Lucasfilm is because of what happened with Thor: Love and Thunder. Shouldn't they have already like known about this? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they've been
Yeah, for
stringing us
sure.
along and stringing us along with him,
Hmm.
where we've known for a while that Love and Thunder has been complete like, a
Hot
complete flop. Like
garbage.
it was just garbage, pile of
Yeah.
garbage, just like the world, a pile of garbage that they were in.
I didn't even watch this thing.
It's not worth
Honestly, I
Yeah.
liked certain parts of it because of canonical stuff, but like, yeah, it's definitely not meant to be taken seriously at
It's
all.
not at all. Like
Yeah.
it's you got all the other Thor movies and the Thor collaboration stuff in some of the other movies, and then you have this one where it's just
Well,
like
Ragnarok is also Taika Waititi, and it was also very like colorful and crazy and stuff,
right.
and like humorous more than whatever.
Okay, then that one was a little bit better than this one. Let's just
Yeah,
say,
I
but
think.
anyways, I was told Waititi didn't finish Thor: Love and Thunder, that it was a complete disaster, and that Marvel gave him the boot from the movie. So that's interesting. They just like, oh, you're not finishing this. See you later. And then somebody had to come in and clean up his mess, and didn't.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time at Disney something like that has happened in the last
That's
few.
true. Yeah. Solo. um. I wasn't told whether or not a new director came to finish the flick. It sounded like Marvel finished it themselves. Brutal. Okay. I was also told Waititi didn't finish the reshoots and the final cut of the movie. I was also told that Marvel had a really difficult time putting together a final cut because they were probably like,
What is
scrolling
this
through it, going,
mess?
"This
Yeah.
is an absolute train wreck. What are we gonna do here?"
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, first we have to
They're like,
take out
"We've
about
already spent so much money
70.
on this. We got to put it out."
Yeah. First we have to take out about 70 colors out of every shot just to see what's going on.
What's with all the colors, man? The insiders filled me in. Marvel kept running into issues with continuity and with the story. This
Mhm,
is just
mhm.
comical as I keep reading it. It's funny.
Yeah, it
They would
is.
get to certain parts, but it didn't know where to go next. Couldn't sync things up right. Waititi even admitted they struggled through the edits and right up until the end. Like he already knew his movie was kind of going sideways. I don't know what you got in theaters is the best version they could come up with. My inserters told me.
Well, the funny thing about that
Ins-
is like theaters were closed when it came out and it was like a Disney Plus exclusive, so I don't even
yeah,
think it was in theaters.
that's true. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Um, my insiders have said as a result, the Takai Waititi is out at Lucasfilm and not doing a Star Wars movie. Interestingly enough, Takai Waititi recently came out and said he only did the Thor movies for the money. What? Waititi has also said he never read the comics, said that Thor was the least popular and that the franchise was at the bottom of the barrel. Rumors offer Thor 5 is happening, but not with Takai Waititi, T-dubs, and that
Yes.
Chris Hemsworth will return in a completely opposite approach than that depicted in Love and Thunder. Out is the goofy Waititi Thor.
Woo!
The Waititi Thor.
Yeah, I
I
would love to
mean,
see like a serious Thor movie after
I
all
want that
this
series Thor back.
baloney.
Like, I don't, I don't, I don't mind. I don't mind the comedic stuff that he brought to the character, right? When it
Mhm,
actually feels like it flows, right? But
mhm,
sometimes I find like a lot of and especially the second movie, like
mhm.
a lot of it was just it felt forced, and you're like, okay, like it was just I don't know. That whole movie was just
Bizarre.
bizarre, yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
Ragnarok was awesome
But
though. I agree with
yay,
that. There was like a good flow to
yay!
it, and it was good. Ragnarok, the previous one, I liked it.
Yeah, I'm looking
It
here
was
and
better, yeah. It was. Yeah.
I'm looking here, and it's going back
But-
to saying that we're saying in the podcast. Apparently, it was called the Smart List podcast that I guess it's hosted Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Barnett. And apparently, he was on November of last year. He's quoted as saying, "I had no interest in doing one of those films. It wasn't on my plan for my career as an auteur. But I was poor, and I just had a second child, and I thought, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to feed these children." Also adding, "I never read Thor comics as a kid. That was the one comic I'd pick up and be like, ugh." And then I did some research on it and read one Thor comic, or like 18 pages, or however long they are. I was still baffled by this character.
This guy is so full of shit. There's no way he ever read a comic book when he was young. There's no way he was poor. This guy's a millionaire. Think he was poor going into that? Come on.
My thing is, I think I'm getting massive Ryan Johnson. Not for nothing. Well, think about it. I mean, if you look back to what they would say Ryan Johnson about some of the characters, when it came to the character of Finn, he just didn't like the character, so it kind of took a back seat. Even it just didn't matter to him. So we'll push him off to the side. We'll throw him in this story here. It was completely off from what we had already picked up as what we were looking at from The Force Awakens going into that movie. It was like, why is he doing this instead of
Right.
same? He felt the same way with General Hux. Now, one thing I'll give J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams did a great job of making General Hux look like formidable. Made him look menacing. The speech that he gave before they blew up all the planets was very well done. And that Hux, if they had carried that Hux all the way through the series, I think he could have been a real threat.
Yeah, I agree.
But 2 seconds into Last Jedi, because I didn't like the character, it's not plucky comedy relief, and in 2 minutes into the movie, you've completely ruined the character.
Yeah.
Snoke. He wasn't interested in Snoke. Snoke's dead. Why is Snoke dead? Snoke was pivotal to the story at that point. Not only did you kill him, you killed him without any information. I'm getting the same vibes off of Taika Waititi here. I didn't care much for Thor. I turned it into a comedy because I didn't care enough about what the hell the Thor story was all about. This is the bottom of the barrel of the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like crazy too, because anybody that like knows whatever canon of that kind of stuff knows this guy's like infinitely powerful. It's insane. So
And if he was doing a Star Wars movie just to piss the fans off, oh, I'm happy he's gone. If you ever even consider bringing him back, you need to be fired for even considering the thought.
Yeah, give your head a shake.
So, yeah, goodbye, good riddance. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Bye-bye.
We can go back to continuing calling him He Who Will Not Be Named.
Oh, he's gone now, so we don't have to talk about him anymore. Bye-bye.
And if we do, we can say Dumb and Dumber, like Andy was saying.
Yeah.
Combined.
Dumb and Dumber's back. They'll never be back. There's no way. Like,
they might be
you've had your
back in
shot,
the
kids.
news.
Now you can move on. See you later.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Just like
yeah.
us, we can move on now.
Yeah. And I'll take that segue into our next story, which comes out of Star Wars Newsnet. And there seems to be a movie coming out called The Music of John Williams. Or Music by John Williams, my mistake. A documentary. It's going to they're saying it's going to get a limited run in movie theaters before it goes to Disney Plus on November 1st. It says here the John Williams documentary that was first announced in January 2023 has finally received an update. The AFI announced on Thursday that music by John Williams, focused on the life and career of the beloved composer, will have its world premiere on opening night of the AFI on October. The film will receive a limited theatrical release before going to Disney Plus on November 1st. Here's the official one. In his early days as a jazz pianist to his 54 Oscar nominations, Jesus Christ, and 5 wins. And I'm more surprised that he only has 5 wins for 4 nominations.
Yeah, right.
Just throwing that one out there. The documentary celebrates Williams' countless contributions to the moving image art, music for the concert stage, as well as his indelible impact on popular. The film was directed by Lauren Rowe, produced by Lucasfilm Amblin Documentaries, which is Kathleen.
Yep.
And Imagine Documentaries. It features interviews with Spielberg, George Lucas, Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, Ron Howard, Lauren Kasdan, James Mangold, and many, many more. It was also produced by Spielberg, Kennedy, Howard, and Buzero, along with Frank Marshall, Brian Grazer, and a long list of names that I can go on with. And either way, without having to go any further than this, bravo to the man. I'm pretty sure I want to watch this. I'm gonna probably be there watching it that day. As much as I love him just for the Star Wars stuff, I love him just for the other stuff that
he's done a bunch of other stuff. Yeah,
whether it be Indiana Jones, Harry Potter. I'm barely scratching the surface. I know he's done so much, and yeah. I guess down there said Superman. I'm not sure if he did Superman. If he was behind.
Let's see. So we got. Okay.
I see on his IMDb it shows Superman, but it also says uncredited, as well as Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. I forgot about that. Okay, I'll take that one back. I didn't think it was him, but I mean, it's just insane.
West Side Story.
Really?
E.T.
Yeah.
E.T. I didn't. E.T.
Oh yeah. E.T. was a very impactful movie for me as a young lad. I don't know why, but it really, I connected with it a lot.
I can say I loved the movie as a kid. I was also, as I'm going to myself right now, one of the owners of the Atari game, which was to this day I believe it's still considered a game of.
Yeah. I somewhat vaguely remember like an image of the game with like the bike thing riding behind with the moon behind it, but yeah.
It's horrible. It's up and beyond horrible.
Oh, he also did the music for the BFG. That was a really good movie.
Home Alone movie.
Oh,
did the Home Alone.
Oh, Jaws.
Home Alone 1 and 2. Schindler's. A bunch of Jurassic Park, Saving Private.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, honest. Schindler's List.
Patriot. Minority Report. Catch Me If You Can. The Fury.
Memoirs of a Geisha. War of the Worlds.
Yeah,
man, so much.
Empire of the Sun.
So much.
Did that one?
Yeah.
Oh, Catch Me If You Can. That was a good movie.
He's doing still
Wow.
going strong. That's the
It,
scary part.
it says 1978 Superman, the original movie.
Oh, really?
Oh no,
Wow.
it shows it here. I
Two
did not know.
LPs composed and produced.
Crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, that's something I'll be watching. That's for sure.
NBC News at
was-
Sunrise theme music.
News at
Huge
Sunrise.
credit. Huge credit. But yeah, Jaws, that music, oh, so iconic.
I mean, just going like things you wouldn't even think of.
Yeah, it almost
Yeah,
reads as a list of like all the like every movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
This isn't even going.
He was in that many movies.
Yeah, it looks like some of his earlier works were just as a musician playing pianos and then goes into more of composer work as career goes on. Or conductor or composer, depending on the project.
How close is that?
Yep.
So yeah, that docuseries should be very interesting, like to hear more about his stories.
Yeah, gotta admit, what can I say? We knew it was great. It's just it's weird to actually look at the list and see how great. Um,
Mhm.
I don't think I have it. I don't think I need to say anymore. Like you said, I'll definitely be watching this probably the night it comes out. Going from there.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Um, anybody have anything else they want to say about it other than yeah, I'm interested in it?
Thumbs up.
Sounds great. Hey, get a chance, November 1st, Disney Plus, definitely watch it. You know, disappointed. Who wants to take the next?
I already got it. I got it open. I'll do it.
Alright.
Okay.
All right. So the next one is coming from Star Wars Newsnet.com. August 27th. Keanu Reeves has an open door at Lucasfilm after all Master Saul in the Acolyte. This is interesting. We've learned a few things, although probably wouldn't have helped the show. Just saying that before I say any of this. But
Yeah.
we've learned a few things in the aftermath of the cancellation of the Acolyte last week. One of the big ones was that Keanu Reeves was one of the candidates to play Master Saul. And though it didn't work out schedule-wise, the actor may come back in the future for a different project. And I know there's been a few rumors floating around and a few hopeful that Keanu Reeves makes it into a Star Wars TV show or a movie at some point, playing a certain dark side character that we all would love to see.
A light
Hmm.
side turn to dark
A
side.
light side turn to dark side, you know what I mean? Yeah. That'll
I,
love us.
I
A lot
wonder
of
who
us.
we could be talking
I
about.
wonder. No, we got Plagueis first, right? So this comes this comes from reporter Jeff Schneider. Not Schneider, it's Snyder. Sorry, not Schneider. Friday newsletter. He wrote that Reeves was very interested in the part and was incentivized to take it after realizing he'd be sharing the screen with his, of course, Matrix co-star Carrie Ann Moss, not on Carrie Ann Moss. No. Carrie Ann Moss. However, he was filming the John Wick spin-off Ballerina around the time Lucasfilm shot The Acolyte. So the gig ended up going to Lee Jung Jae. Reeves as a key supporting role in the aforementioned film, but Lionsgate refused to readjust the actor's schedule. Sources at Lucasfilm stress that the actor has never or was never offered a part in the show, but that they are huge fans of his work. This was also reflected on Snyder's report, which said that Lucasfilm remains high on the actor, whose interest has been noted internally. Of course, little else is known about this for now. He has few things lined up for the next month. He has a few things lined up for the next months, but there are no Star Wars productions going up for the end of the year outside of The Mandalorian Grogu, which is currently. Keanu Reeves has been tied to The Acolyte for a while, with some rumors spreading online about him as Darth Vader. It's been going around.
Is that the
A
guy you were
character
talking about?
Why I am so shocked and
I
surprised.
don't even know. I'm surprised myself. Wow. How'd they read my mind? I don't understand. That just comes that wow. A character from the night, whom Reeves has been fan cast as for years. Whether accidentally or not, there was fire where there was smoke, apparently. The Acolyte will not be returning for the second season, we learned last week. Yada, 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 yada. So, yeah. Who wouldn't want to see Keanu Reeves in the Star Wars? You know what I mean? Like, it's John Wick. Come on. Let's get John Wick in here.
Let me start with this. Obviously, everybody and their mother has talked about him as Darth. And
no, really? I thought it was just me.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never.
Yeah.
It wouldn't kill me if he wasn't, but it would be awesome if he was.
Right, yeah.
All that being said, my apologies to Lee Jung Jae. Sorry that you had to suffer the poor writing of being Master Soul.
Yeah, he's definitely not the problem.
But to whoever that person was at Lionsgate that refused to let Keanu Reeves get away to take that role instead, that guy needs a raise.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Not for nothing. Even if Master Soul ended up being this dynamically great written character that we would have all loved at the end of the day, and it's bad because 3 episodes in, we all kind of really liked the guy, but by the end of the season, none of us cared anymore.
Yeah. And it wasn't because of his acting, though. It was just the writing. This character was...
It was just poorly done at the end.
Not great. Yeah.
That being said, if you think there was outrage going into all that character, number one, naming Keanu Reeves Master Soul instead of Darth Revan. If you think that people would have been angry off the rip of that, imagine if you had said it was Keanu Reeves instead. No. Lucasfilm dodged a bullet on this one.
I think they should give that guy at Lionsgate who told him, no, we're not changing the schedule. You should probably give him a medal for not letting Keanu Reeves be involved in this show.
I'm guessing if you walk into this guy's office, there's like a big picture of Keanu Reeves that says, "I told you so."
I don't know.
Signed John Wick.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a
But
basket.
yeah.
Of, maybe there was a basket of fruit that day that just basically said, thank you for preventing me from being part of that train wreck."
Or it just says
Uh,
thank you. Thank you.
uh, yeah, so there's two things I want to say about this. If Keanu Reeves was Master Soul, I guarantee Leslie LH would have tried to do like a Matrix thing with like him and Trinity,
Oh, probably. She
because
tried
they
to
already,
half do it with Carrie Ann Moss already.
yeah, they threw in the choreography, right? So I could see them doing like, Master Soul doing like the dodge this, like dodging the bullets, and then she's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like I can almost guarantee she would have done something dumb like that.
But like
Taking the shit out
it
of the
would
Matrix.
Yeah,
it would have looked so weird though. It
yeah.
like let's put aside the fans would be like super pissed off about Keanu Reeves taking a role other than Darth Revan. It'd be super weird just seeing them in the same thing, like in the same scene, but you know, they're Jedi and they're just like, doing their thing, whatever it is, and then yeah, it'd just be super weird.
Mhm. So the second thing I wanted to say, you know how we had Ahmad Best talking about how he wants his character to be like the Jedi John Wick, and they potentially
Right.
have plans to give him some kind of feature, whether it's a show or a movie or whatever. I would love to see Keanu Reeves appear in this show, the Jedi John Wick, as like the Russian villain from John Wick. Just this random, insignificant, like villainous character that just gets offed in the end. That would be very anticlimactic and awesome, in my opinion.
Just having him be the one taking that call, and just be like, like when the Russian guy had realized that was the name that was announced, and you just hear him, and it's just like, oh, like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. Or when he's like, "You killed his dog?" Like you just see like the fear in his face.
Yeah.
See Keanu playing that like same type of line. That'd be awesome.
you you killed his Grogu.
uh, yeah.
You know who you stole that from?
Uh,
All
But
right,
yeah,
so yeah, that's
we
my
want to
two
see Keanu
things I wanted to
eventually,
say.
but we know what role we want him in.
Yeah.
and thank God it wasn't this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all right, moving on from there. I guess I'll take this one. Basically, it's this one's also out of Star Wars Newsnet, and it says Sigourney Weaver confirms Mandalorian and Grogu. Says we've known for a few months that Sigourney Weaver will be appearing in the next Star Wars movie, which is currently shooting. But hearing it from news reports is one thing. Hearing it from the actress herself is a lot more satisfying. Weaver was interviewed by Deadline right before receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Venice Film Festival. When asked what's next on her schedule, she mentioned the upcoming film by director Jon Favreau. I'm playing a role in The Mandalorian Grogu. I got to meet Grogu for the first time the other day. um,
That's cool.
there's not much there
Yeah.
for sure, but at least it's nice to have this piece of information confirmed. We also know that she'll be interacting with Grogu. That's probably no surprise, and definitely doesn't give us any other character, or if she'll be a friend or a foe. Let's see. Mandalorian Grogu started production earlier this summer, continued through the fall. Pedro Pascal's return to Jaren, though his presence on the set will be limited. There is some speculation based on recent reporting he will be there at some point later this year. Weaver is now the second member of the cast confirmed as part of the movie. For now, we don't even know that Katie Sackhoff or Giancarlo Esposito are in it. If anyone asks Sasha. The film is dated for theatrical release on May 22nd, 6. Yeah, I'm happy that she's in. Happy that it's that we have actual confirmation now. We don't speculate about it anymore. I don't know what
I thought
she'll
that
be
we
doing.
had heard that Katie Sackhoff is confirmed, but I guess not.
No, the only two
No, I
confirmed
don't
is
remember.
Pedro and her.
I think by extension we actually.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we did see that for
I mean,
sure. I remember.
we had already assumed or said that it's probably going to be limited for Pedro, based on like he's probably filming season 2 of The Last of Us at the same time, probably. So
Yeah, and also when they were talking
Well,
about Mandalorian season 4, they had said that he would not be returning for that, right?
that
Previously.
and he's also currently doing Fantastic Four at the moment.
and Fantastic Four too. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
So-
I forgot about that.
Busy guy.
He's somebody that everybody wants right now in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's understandable. He's a good actor. So.
Good actor, yeah. He does a great job.
But yeah, to know that Ripley will now be in my Star Wars, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like we all feel like she's going to be, you know, not a good, like not a she'll be part of the Empire, I think. Like she's going to be like a villain of some. I don't think she's going to be part of, I mean, she could be part of the New Republic, I guess, but I think it'd be a little cooler to put a player as a bad guy.
I mean,
I still have a prediction that I think she's going to be a character like that lady that fixes the Razor Crest, like maybe on a different planet, and she's like her sister or something like that, or friend, you know?
I mean, I'll say I know what I want in this situation. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get it.
You want Star Wars Ripley. That's what you want.
No, I wasn't even going there. But you'll probably know just from going back into the Legends books. Also, Admiral Dala. I mean, basically one of the main Imperial admirals during the Remnant period in the Legends books.
Right.
Very powerful. Not scared of anyone. Basically took over the Empire after Thrawn walked away. Though she was part of his. I believe she was part of his remnant, so to speak.
Right.
I think she'd be perfect for the role. And once we have it into Thrawn, she could be the person that takes up the mantle and pushes us further until we get to First Order situation.
It's possible, yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I think that would line up too, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying I've got it down, but I'm not saying I'll get what I want there because I probably definitely won't. But
yeah,
she seems like she'd be fitting for that role.
The talks of the characters in the shows right now, like the new characters coming in, it feels like they're pulling more from Legends, which would be nice. That'd be cool for them to start going, hey, we made a mistake, we need to start bringing these characters into canon.
There were some good characters that were in that time period. Even if you don't want to pull the stories in along with them, the characters were solid.
Or you know what? How about you start bringing in some of the writers from these books. You know, start bringing these writers and start collabing with these writers, because I feel like, you know, they apparently know a lot about Star Wars, and you know, they
Yeah,
should
and they
just start picking
probably
their
have
brain.
some ideas of like how to incorporate it in different ways too, right?
I don't know.
Well,
Like,
I mean, they have done that with Timothy Zahn,
right, right.
Mhm.
which I mean, people have come out and said, you know, obviously the new stuff is they don't like the new stuff. I don't think you would have gotten a better version of Thrawn now had we not brought.
I agree.
So personally, I like it. I think Zahn has done a great job of adapting the character into what we have had,
Right.
and especially considering we had to basically push the story back. Obviously, we hadn't heard of Thrawn until after Return of the Jedi, and now we had to push him back pre A New Hope and to the Rebels era, to a couple of years before that, and then even earlier with some of the books that were written. So yeah, I think it was adapted as well as Disney was going to allow him to do, considering, especially considering the characters that were also brought in that we didn't really know much about. The only thing I think I will miss is that, in as this goes forward, even though people are saying Captain Enoch will be that character, kind of gonna miss the more now time because I mean he was killed off.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I got. I know I have a lot.
One
Isn't
thing.
that what we're supposed to do in a podcast?
Yeah,
No
I guess
talking
so.
aloud.
No talking aloud, Eldor. Jeez.
No, I feel like I don't let you guys get
Uh,
in too much. I kind of get.
Okay, that's okay.
Hey,
Yeah, one thing about that is like if they do have plans of her being like a long-standing character, like going like you were talking about taking over the reins after Thrawn, like potentially that would be like even as long as 5 or 10 years from now, like getting that far into the story, right? It might not be a great choice to pick somebody that's like 70, 75 years old, perhaps.
well,
Just saying.
obviously, I mean, there's some things you have to mention, obviously. I mean, I'm just thinking, how many people out there could probably pull this character off? And when I see someone like Sigourney Weaver, definitely could pull this character off. I don't know who else. I mean, obviously, I haven't really. I don't know. Maybe we should do a determine who we would like to see in some of these. That might be fun. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I just see her as someone that could pull that character.
That's fair. That's fair. And also, I guess, like, if heaven forbid something happened to her, they could CGI like they do with some of the other characters as well
No,
down the road, if that was the case.
provided they can get permission to do. It. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah.
Um, I've spoken my piece. As a big deal.
I mean, it'll be cool to see her in Star Wars. I look forward to seeing who she's going to portray. and yeah, I hope she plays the villain because I think she'd do a great job. And you saying what you're saying about the Legends character, I think that would fit as well. So, in the pieces, it seems like they're starting to fit on all the pieces around. You know, they're starting to throw in all the pieces from the from that
From
the
Legends.
heir of the Empire stuff.
All right. That being said, anybody want to take the last story there, or
Yeah, I'll take it. Let's see. Humberly Gonzalez discusses portraying a rookie scoundrel in Star Wars Outlaws. Would be happy to play Kay Vess in live action. This article is from Star Wars Newsnet. This weekend. Oh, what's up?
No, I was just laughing at it's like potentially like everybody who plays like a role in a video game to play their live act. I can definitely play my live act role. Yeah, no duh. Like
Yeah, yeah.
sorry. Just I had to
Uh,
laugh at that.
All right, this weekend, Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment's new game, Star Wars Outlaws, entered full release following a 3-day early access window. As is usually the case with AAA video game launchers, the title's developers have participated in a number of interviews to promote its release. Now, actress Humberly Gonzalez, who portrays player character Kay Vess, has begun to discuss her experience working on the game. She recently spoke with Variety about how she contributed to Kay's representation in Star Wars, her thoughts on live action Kay Vess stories, and more. Gonzalez began by mentioning the rich story opportunities the game's original trilogy setting presented to the development team. It's a time where the crime syndicates are thriving, the underbelly of Star Wars is rampant. So insert this new scoundrel story where she's a young girl that isn't a Jedi, she's not a Sith, she doesn't want to belong to anybody, not the rebels, not the Empire. She simply has a dream of getting rich and being free out there in the galaxy. She doesn't know what that means, but we get to explore with her through her rookie ways of becoming this incredible scoundrel. But not having the experience like the ones we've seen portrayed in the Star Wars before, like Lando Calrissian, Han Solo. She is different because she doesn't have that experience. So getting to explore the underworld with someone who doesn't know the dangers of it is very exciting. From the sound of things, Kay's initial lack of experience dealing with the galaxy's criminal element was an appealing part of the character for Gonzalez. The actress felt that emphasizing Kay's newcomer status allowed the game to present a well-trodden era of Star Wars in a new light. I know when she was first crafted, they were making her a bit more cynical, a bit more snappy and sassy. But me coming in meant I wanted to bring more vulnerability to her, the cracks in the shield, the flaws that she had to have composure through, and that to me makes her so complex, so layered, because if she is a rookie, how does that show up in the world and what is she learning? And so we got to experience this timeline of Star Wars that everybody knows so well, but through fresh eyes, a new point of view. What happens when Kves is meeting face to face with Jabba the Hutt, who we know runs one of the baddest crime syndicates out there? She has no idea who he is. It's a very fun experience to input this rookie scoundrel in a world that we so know, and it's so dangerous. Honestly, like for me, that part sounds like she doesn't really know Star Wars that well, because like I would say the Hutt Cartel is probably known every part of the galaxy. But anyways, having a leading role in a big, long-running franchise like Star Wars brings a performer a lot of visibility as their character gains a fan base of their own. Star Wars fans in particular are known to latch onto even the most minor characters and enjoy cosplaying as them at conventions and other fan events. Unsurprisingly, Gonzalez has already had the chance to see fans dressing up as her character. I met this young girl who came dressed as Kay Vess. She built everything herself. She created the classic bomber leather blue jacket that Kay Vess wears, track pants, the boots. She had her hair done and the makeup. She even had the backpack, and it was Nick's. I was in awe because it was a moment in real time of how important representation is, and especially having female protagonists in the gaming industry, there can be so much toxicity, a lot of misogyny, a lot of just trolls on the internet that when women enter the space, there can be a lot of sexism, even though there is so much creativity and expertise when it comes to women in the field. And this young girl came to me and just said, I've been waiting for a project like this for so long for me to play as a strong female lead and explore an open world. And she just wanted to thank me. Naturally, whenever a new character appears in Star Wars animated show, novel, comic, or video game in a leading capacity, some fans begin to wonder whether and when that character will show up in a live action project. In recent years, we've seen many such characters get roles in series like The Mandalorian or Ahsoka. When asked about the possibility of Kay Vess getting her own live action adventures, Gonzalez seemed interested in the prospect. I think it would be incredible to see Kay Vess in a live action because one thing that we don't see in animation is those micro expressions of a real human being on screen. And it would be incredible for me to experience what it would be like to be literally in her costume, in her appearance, her likeness in the landscape, to see her interact with real characters, the creatures. It would be a dream come true. I certainly would not say no to the opportunity, and I think so many opportunities to see KVS and other aspects of established roles in Star Wars because we're in the original trilogy, so there's so many opportunities for her to exist or show up in different places. So it would be amazing, and I think fans would love it. We don't know yet when we will see Kay Vess in the galaxy far, far away, but more video games are in her future, or maybe she'll have a part to play in an upcoming live action series. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, that's the end of the article there.
And I'm a couple hours into the. So far, I'm enjoying it. Pretty good game so far. I've probably would have played more this week. I have been trying to stream it, and unfortunately, I spent most of the week construction being right outside my window. So
Fun.
kind of defeats the purpose of trying to stream it. So I've been kind of holding out. Probably be on tomorrow morning actually stream. Not that I'm trying to skip that ahead and what I've done so far I've enjoyed. Game does have its issues as its so that stuff you the story isn't bad. Um I have at least there's nothing there that is giving me reason to believe that it's gonna take it downhill and it's not gonna be something. But I will say, as far as her in a live action situation, I mean, we've been hearing about Cameron Monaghan, Cal Kestis, for how long?
Yeah.
Action. Still looking for opportunities, such, and I'd be happy to see what they're gonna do with them, as long as the story fit. Which is the exact same thing I'm gonna say here. If the story fits, I can't wait. I'm all for it.
Yeah. But do you guys agree with me that I feel like it's unlikely anybody in that era would not know who Jabba the Hutt is?
I
What do
mean,
you think?
Jabba's known around. I think she was just more probably describing like her first interaction with Jabba, or like seeing Jabba up close more so than like not knowing about him. I think maybe she knows about him, but maybe it's more of the like when you're right in front of Jabba the Hutt, you're gosh, look at this big friggin'
Yeah, but
blob of.
she's saying like the opposite, right? She's saying like she doesn't even understand that he's dangerous, so she's like really casual with him or, something to that degree. But I don't know. Like I feel like generally speaking, people know that
I
the
mean,
Hutts are
Well,
dangerous and all that kind of thing.
without giving too much away, you get the impression about the character that she grows she's grown up on the starter planet that you're on. The only real underworld she knows. There's no Hutt cartel. The only people she really little little underground the small underground gang that's in her hood and this new this new gang that's on the rise. But she doesn't know everyone. Even she get I don't want to give
I feel like
even
spoilers for a video game are not a thing though, because like
but it's
I
still
don't know.
it's still early enough that I just don't want. I don't know. I don't want. I want people to enjoy the game if they want to.
Yeah.
But I guess the next we'll just come on and say it. I'm gonna put up the spoiler tag. If you don't want to hear about this, I understand. The game backwards. I'm assuming you both of you care what.
Correct.
I
Well,
don't.
for me, it's correct. Because
Oh,
like
without
for
going
me,
too
I would
far.
rather.
It's not gonna ruin it.
For me, I'm
Um.
gonna learn about the story through somebody. I'm not gonna play it myself. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, the next troop she encounters is the Pegasus, and she doesn't do it other than she's what she's kind of getting her, and um, this part I'll say just because it's in the trailer. So, but basically, when she gets in there, and the guy who's basically looks at her and says says you don't I don't know you, you don't know me. Get out until you know, or something like that. um, so basically, I could see almost this idea where she's been kind of sheltered from the planet she's on, may not know the underworld as well as she thinks, and when I haven't gotten to the point where she's met the Huts yet, so obviously I can't speak for them. Maybe she gets to the Hutt cartel and maybe she doesn't exactly know who Jabba is and doesn't realize. Hey, maybe she might think Jabba's one of her smaller huts to deal with, so not
He's so
realizing that Jabba
huge.
is as powerful. Not realizing that Jabba is as powerful as he is, and maybe that's how.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, that's like I said. I mean, stories are good. I don't care. Recommend. I'm all for it. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't hurt to have news.
yeah, yeah. As far as like live action, I feel like I would be very excited to see Cal Kestis, but maybe not as much her yet until I learn more about the story, I suppose.
That's understandable.
Yeah, I mean, at this point now, like Cal Kestis, we know Cal Kestis. We've kind of, we've been on 2 video games with him so far. I mean, if you haven't played it, whatever. But I mean, we know that, I he would be. I don't know. I think bringing him to live action would happen before, Kay Vest would come in, like, obviously. But I don't know. I would like to see it though. Cal Kestis. But is it going
Yeah.
to happen? Probably.
Also like what's his name? Oh yeah, Cameron Monaghan is a great actor too, so that in and of itself would be exciting.
Right. Right.
That being said, I don't know. She's done. So
Mm.
right now,
Yeah. It's a very unique name, Humberly. I don't know if I've ever heard that name before.
Umberly.
well, I think my first big surprise is that she's 32 years.
Hmm. Yeah, she seems younger in that
Yeah,
picture.
I didn't pick that up right away. So, um, good on you, I guess. I mean, definitely.
Mhm.
It's like a lot of TV.
Yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of other video games that she is also in as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm sorry. A lot of voice work. Far Cry 6.
Paw Patrol.
The new Avatar. I think that's actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, outside. Like
Yeah,
a lot
I'm
of these.
looking at it. There's not much I even really recognize other than a couple shows on there where she appeared in an episode. But
But that being said, she's been 70 years now. Like I said, her acting doesn't come off as terrible in the game at all either. Hey, you know what? Pull it off in Star Wars. There's just nothing that she can't.
yeah, also like she kept in that article bringing up that it was the era that everybody loves and stuff, but I feel like we're not returning to that era anytime soon. How about you guys?
Yeah, I got that impression too. Like I saw where it says there's lots of what's the line? There was lots of opportunities, I think, in that timeline between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. But I don't see them going back and trying to, I don't know, fill in the gap, I guess, with shows or so I don't know. I don't see. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe the potential of continuing the story via video game, I guess. I mean, we could see eventually a
Yeah,
Star
yeah,
Wars
for
Outlaws
sure.
2 or whatever, but
Mhm. Yeah, that I could see like them, visiting that era and going from there, filling the gap from the perspective of like an underworld type thing. I could see that for sure, but like I just can't picture like a show or a movie being like, okay, we're going back to the original trilogy with none of the original characters.
yeah,
Let's
right.
go. I can't imagine that being easy to
Yeah,
sell or popular.
yeah, but I mean, that being said, I mean, obviously, yeah, you don't necessarily have to go to exactly that period between Empire and Return of the Jedi either. I mean, we are talking we're only a couple years off from the Mandoverse era. You could she could fit into the Mando and Grogu movie somewhere. She could fit into, and I'm not saying she'll be in that movie. Just throwing, it wouldn't be a surprise to me. I mean, the time period's fit. I mean, she'd be more of a veteran. I could see her potentially if they did somewhere a couple years down the line decided, you know what, maybe it's time. Let's bring back Book of Boba Fett. Let's maybe there's a place for her to fit in there. She does a job for her. I don't see it necessarily having to be a series about her. But I could see her fitting in some. Hey, wow, look, they brought in Cave S. I mean, they did a good job with it.
Yeah. Or even
I'm trying.
I don't know if this I don't know if this makes sense like timeline wise, but remember they were talking about future potential project with Asajj Ventress. Maybe she could, make some sort of appearance in that since they're both underworld scoundrel type people.
Yeah.
Maybe a situation where, hey, maybe Cave S is more of a veteran down the line. Asajj Ventress is the one coming after her because she's technically a bounty hunter.
Yeah, maybe somebody puts a bounty on her, and yeah, I could see it.
I mean, yeah, there's definite places you can go with this.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the Cal Kestis stuff, I don't think anybody's ever really brought up the idea of actually know about him. But everybody's brought up the idea of him popping up somewhere.
Fair, yeah.
So
Even like in animation, because in like we have that rumor about some sort of show involving Rex and stuff, like that kind of would be around the right time frame for a Cal Kestis appearance. That could be interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities out there for these characters that we see along the way to add in without necessarily making it all.
Yeah, that's true. Even Starkiller, I know I brought it up a few times. I'm always like, I want it to be Starkiller. Whenever all these shows come out, but I still think that would be something that's doable. Obviously, it wouldn't be in the same exact story as it is in those games, but still could be something they could do.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, if you go all the way back to those video games, we're still waiting for Starkiller to be in a live action, right? So I mean, if you look way back,
Mm-hmm.
we're still waiting for him. I don't foresee Cal Kestis or KVS being anywhere near coming to the live action scene.
Yeah, especially with the like pretty much our favorite voice actor playing him, right? So
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, the only difference in that is technically Star Killer is still canon. These two technically.
it's fair.
Gotcha.
Again,
Yeah,
I'm not saying it has to happen.
No,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
I think a lot of people just put a lot of hope on having these characters come to live action, but in reality, I don't think it's gonna happen, to be honest. Even with
Yeah.
all the push for Cal Kestis and all that stuff, like I still feel like either they're having a hard time trying to figure it out where they're gonna put him in or whatever it is, or they're just not gonna happen. Like
Personally,
Yeah, and
I'm gonna I'll
we
pull this spoiler.
oh, but we do also know that Sam Witwer was brought on during Rebels to play Starkiller, and then they scrapped it because for whatever reason, either it was too expensive or it didn't pan out or whatever.
Well,
So they at one point had plans to canonize him.
well, it's not like Sam Witwer really lost out either. He did voice Maul
No.
through the
He
whole
still
series.
did voiceover and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's still Maul. He was still Palpatine until
Yeah.
they were able to get Ian McDiarmid to come in and do it. So
Yeah.
I mean, but and you know,
Oh.
what I was about to say, the only thing I was thinking of with Cal Kestis is the only possibility that I can think of as to why we haven't seen in live action yet. Maybe they're waiting for this third and final.
I mean, yeah, could be that too.
Yeah. Also, do we even have any live action stuff in that era that came out after that? I don't think so. Like
You mean the
for
timeline that it's
Cal
in?
Kestis. Yeah. Because
Well,
like
we're talking about the Jedi Purge era, which is so I mean, talking at that point you're talking Rogue One, Rebels, Bad Batch.
yeah,
Oh,
but that's what I
Bad
mean.
Batch would have been before.
Live, but yeah, those are not live action, right? Or yeah, Rogue One and Andor, but that's what I was saying is like everything is mostly animation, like Andor being the exception from that era.
Well, I think they're starting. Well, I mean, they're now starting to adapt the Rebel stuff into time period.
Yeah.
Besides,
Yeah, I just mean like the opportunities to bring Cal Kestis haven't really been there other than potentially animation or Andor, which Andor it seems like they're essentially trying to stay away from Force users.
I get that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should to this.
Oh, I think I'm all right. I'm good.
I mean, here we've actually put in half hours here.
Oh yeah.
Which
That's right.
we were thinking this might be a short episode, but as always,
Yeah.
we find we find a way to know what bring the chat, so. Which is a good thing. I know we all love to have these. It's a good time. With that being said, that was the end of the news, and there's really not much else going on this week other than what was in the news. So I'm thinking it's probably time to call it. Anything you guys want to add in general?
There was an article I meant to share with you guys. I'll just kind of say something about it, but I forgot. It's about Outlaws. Apparently, there was some a little bit of shady business that they did with the pre or early access people when they or when they had the what's the called the global launch or the official launch. Players had to restart their saves, and apparently they didn't really compensate the people very well. So a lot of people were pretty upset that played early access and essentially got nothing for it. So yeah. Uh, Unfortunately, I forgot to post the article, so I don't know specifics or anything. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate.
I don't know anything about it either, but if you find it, talk about it.
Essentially, what they gave them is like a little trinket in the game, and that's it. Like not even something that affects gameplay or anything like that. So
I mean, The only thing I will say is, considering they charged for, and for the collector's edition, they charge $120. You get our skins shipped at you. I feel it wasn't worth really going out of your way to spend that kind of money. Not personal opinion. You know, like in comparison, like they were just showing Civilization 7 just coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
They were showing all the stuff that you get at, and nice looking coin you get in. You actually get a little statue, little mini statue. There's a working clock that you actually get. The box is actually like a collect box. It has different images on it. There's a book, and it's like for all the stuff that you get, I understand them charging as much as they do, but to sit there and spend all that extra money, I just only get like 3 or 4 like ship
In-game
skins.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like no, it
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I remember it said like there was some kind of art book or something, but even that was also digital, not like a physical something.
Yeah, so end of the day, it was almost like Ubisoft kind of showing their choices how they're going to handle things. So if it's just the fact that they didn't really give you much of anything skin, it doesn't.
The early access thing, yeah. Yeah, unfortunate.
Happy. I'll see if I can find information on myself. Kind of curious as to what exactly it was. Is there anything else you guys want?
Oh, I'm good.
Hey, then I'm gonna say that we have. I want to thank everybody for coming out to watch the latest episode of the Shadow Collective Podcast, episode 14. Before we go, my good friend Danny Beads, where can we find you?
On Twitch, you can find me Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. And we are playing Marvel Snap. So come check me out, twitch.tv/Andy_Beads.
Nice. And Mr. Swampgrass, where can we find you?
I'm at Swampgrass420. Sorry, I said that wrong. Twitch.tv/Swampgrass420. I was like, wait a sec, I didn't do that right. But yeah, that's where I'm usually Monday to Friday. Sometimes weekends a little bit, streaming Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes as well as Marvel Strike Force. This past week I had a really crazy work schedule, working like 13 hours every day, starting very early in the morning, so I wasn't able to stream this week much. So I'm really looking forward to hitting the pavement running next week and, streaming a lot like I always do.
Nice, nice. All right, and I am Darth Eldor. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Darth_Eldor. I also play Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, usually around for Grand Arenas, and lately starting broadcast Star Wars Outlaws. Fortunately, I didn't stream it as much as I wanted this week. I said there was construction outside my window, So don't want that really interrupting every stream. But now that that's over, I want to get into the game. I really want to delve deep, have some fun. So definitely find me on there playing Star Wars Outlaw a lot this up there. So again, joining us, Shadow Collective Star Wars podcast. Back in a couple weeks with episode 15, and definitely excited for it. See you again soon. As always, we